Yes, Kpemka.
I thought we would look at the issues in detail and educate our people. We're not run straight into politics and all that and scoring politics.
You call this politics?
Etc. Anyway, that's not the point. First, let me react to the issue of the former Chief Justice. I mean, most of us kept referring to her as Chief Justice. She's not Chief Justice. She's the former Chief Justice, actually, from the discussion that we've had. She talked about the fact that government saw their area as a low-hanging fruit that could be easily harvested, and that's an opportunity that should not be taken advantage of, etc. Let me state my position on this matter. When it started, you remember, I don't know whether you do, that there was a statement from the Office of Attorney General, advice from the Office of Attorney General. Yeah. We've conveniently ignored this when we are discussing this matter, and for me, that was very pivotal to the resolution of this matter. It's
not ignored. If you want to emphasize it, then you do.
Let me do.
The advice that
something the advice. It was very clear.
Voluntary.
Absolutely.
Yes, but we knew that the voluntary was not voluntary.
Yes.
I'm saying that the Office of Attorney General acted excellently on the matter. When I read the opinion, I gave thumbs up to Dami for that excellent advice. And remember that in our type of governance, it's very difficult for one minister to look the other in the face and tell him A or B. And that is even the reason.
Be sincere with your viewers that the Attorney General could have advised otherwise, that there ought to be a law to expropriate, unilaterally take away people's accrued rights, and there will be any law that will agree to that.
No, you're not.
So the Attorney General simply confirmed to the Finance Ministry and the government what the law allows and what the law does not allow. And he knows the law.
Yes.
And he could not have told them that you can do it compulsory.
Probably if you are allowed me to land,
rights anyway.
If you are allowed me to land, you may not have brought this law interjection at all.
Okay.
What I was seeking to say is that it was a bold decision for him to have done that openly and then threw it out there for us to discuss.
Was there an option? That's my point.
In other circumstances in the past,
there an option?
There may not have been anything that will come out to us at all from the Attorney General's office. In the past, there have been circumstances such as this. You find no opinion from the Attorney General's office, especially if the Attorney General's opinion is contrary to what is being professed by the Minister.
For example, you speak about the past. What example
I'm
do you have in
saying
mind?
that circumstances in the past, many circumstances in the past, we have seen situations where a certain position is taken by a Minister of State or a government institution that you don't hear from the Office of Attorney General. And I'm saying that the advice you are talking about, Samson, hold it, that he could not have said otherwise. I agree.
Yes.
He could not have said otherwise.
Which lawyer will embarrass himself that way?
He could not have said otherwise. And he came out with that. But that also influenced the decision of the Finance Minister in revising his previous stance. It influenced it. Otherwise, the previous stance was what he intended to carry out from the beginning all through to the end.
That's not what I saw in the advice. In the advice, the Finance Minister did not say, I want to do this by compulsory, by legislation. The Finance Minister was saying, these options, what is your advice?
Yes.
And the Attorney General says, you can't use a legislative process.
Yes.
So, at all costs, you must do it through a voluntary process.
Voluntary process.
Yeah, so the Finance Minister did not say we are going to do it.
So when he actually gave this piece of advice to the Finance Minister, the things began to change. And that is why you have people like Senor Jose and others now revising their positions from the very previous intransigence that they actually carried out, which was legitimately within their rights anyway.
Intransigence?
Yes. Yes, I'm using the word, without reservation. You see, point is this, Samson. This debt exchange program.
No.
My personal opinion.
This small point. Sincerely, that it was possible for any Attorney General to think otherwise and say that regardless of your accrued rights.
I've said no. I said no to you.
So there was
I don't need us to belabor the point. I said no to that.
Okay.
You see, my position on this matter, and Samson, let me be very candid with you. I disagree with the Finance Ministry to a very large extent on some of those decisions.
Okay.
I don't support it. Especially on the pensioners. I don't support it at all. Because they are vulnerable people. My position is not that what I'm saying by virtue of this, what I'm espousing now, I am supporting hook, line, and sinker everything that is coming from the Finance Ministry. That cannot be. In fact, that is not, it will not allow me to go to have a peaceful sleep. Because I think that we should not be touching the pensioners at all. Look, some of the things that we saw, and I mean, looking at the age and the way they are vulnerable and all that, and the way they were exposed and etc., for me, it's so sympathetic. And it is unreasonable for us to insist that we would attach their funds and all that. That is my personal position on that matter. And I think that as we go on, the positions are being revised. Save what you have just put across, that he says, look, you can go to hell or whatever you want to do, you can do. There's nothing I can do about it. It's closed and etc. That is not the thing I got from the general thing. I think that the engagement needs to be enhanced so that we reach a consensus. We need to engage more and reach a consensus. And believe you me, this is a contract. If I enter into a contract
for the individual bondholders,
yes,
what he gave, so to speak, was that now all individual bondholders who are below the age of 59 years will be offered instrument with a minimum maturity of 5 years instead of 12 years and a 10% coupon rate. Then all retirees, including those retiring in 2023, will be offered instruments with a minimum maturity of 5 years instead of 12 years and 15% coupon rate. So this was what he offered. But some of them, almost all of them, largely still say, we are not interested. We just want an exemption.
You see, one thing that we seem to be losing sight of is also the fact that that is the man holding the kitty. And he's looking at the circumstances that we find ourselves in, the very serious economic circumstances we find ourselves in, and probably being realistic with the bondholders and trying to let them know that this is what is practical, and this is what is feasible, this is what is possible, this is what can be done to ameliorate the situation. Because remember that if you sign up to an agreement that you cannot implement, then of course you have deceived the other parties, and that will not be good enough. So he's probably being realistic with the people and saying that, look, we are going to carry out this exchange program, and this is the very realistic ways by which we can actually fulfill our side of the contractual bargain. And remember that if you enter into a contract with another party, and in this particular case, the state and then those individuals and institutions and etc., they've entered into these contracts, and the contracts are bound or are binding on the parties that have entered into it, except if you think that one party has acted in a manner that has infringed your rights and you can go to court to vindicate it.
Right.
But the circumstances of this matter, I think we should be very cautious. That the finance minister probably would not have just said that we are taking a certain decision without recourse to the fact that he's looking at the circumstances of our economy and what is in the kitty and how to be able to manage it going forward, so that in trying to solve a problem, you don't create another one.
Yeah, there are those who are pointing out to you that in this budget, you are funding, you have actually increased your budgetary allocation for certain, projects that you could have reduced them in this situation. So this is where you could have saved money. You would have saved millions of Ghana cedis so that you don't have to worry these people.
Yes. Yes,
why is he not thinking about that?
That's a very good point you are making. But you remember also that we have Parliament. When these things get there, Parliament itself has the right to reject some of them. And they did reject some of the things in Parliament. You remember that even at the committee level, the allocation to the cathedral was rejected. You remember? And some other allocations were rejected by Parliament. And that's the representatives of the people.
All right.
So the finance minister doesn't carry the thing there and just dumps it and it starts operating. It is also for our parliamentarians to debate it, vote on it, and where they find that it is not in the public interest, get it defeated.
Right.